while we're at Bronco's Super Celebration East, we found one of the most unexpected things ever. I'm Sean.
I'm Jill.
This is 151 Garage. Less than a month ago, we went to Super Celebration East in Tennessee. While we were there, we went through a number of the vendors' booths. I think we went through all of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of which I just completely was unexpected. Before I tell you what we found, let me describe this vehicle. So this vehicle was pretty much the top. It had all the restraints for building this vehicle. It had a hard top. It had the Sasquatch. It had the leather interior. It had the tow package.
Had the 2.7.
It had the 2.7 liter.
Had everything but 2 doors.
Yeah. And it had the luxury package. So it was fully loaded, which it was completely just, it had every restraint. So we nicknamed it
The Unicorn.
because we know it's there. We kind of think it's a myth. We don't know if we'd ever get it. So we just called it a unicorn. So this is dubbed the Unicorn because it's one of the weirdest things. It's usually like a lower level that you'll see, like Big Bend or the Black Diamonds. You'll see those, but you don't see a fully loaded Badlands that we have. And we weren't going to change it because this was her dream car. I told her she could pick out whatever car she wanted when she was done fighting cancer. If she beat cancer, we get it. If she didn't beat cancer, I'd still get it. And call it that anyways for her, you know, because we sold her vehicle, sold her Bronco that she was building to kind of fund the initial portions of the cancer bills and stuff like that. So that's where this came in. That's why we have it, and that's why I was not going to change anything. I let her pick it. That's what she wanted. She got everything she wanted. Now, going with the Unicorn, we were walking around and we walked behind one of the vehicles that were there. It was at Vasher Designs, and I didn't. Something just caught my eye. So the badges were all
It's like a bronzy color.
yeah, like a bronzy copper color. And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Not to mention that the articulation on that vehicle was incredible.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. That's what drew me to that vehicle. They do make other things than what I'm about to show you. They do make suspension. Pretty neat suspension. The articulation on the back of that car was absolutely phenomenal. It was pretty neat. Check them out. But when I was walking behind it to try to take a peek at the suspension, I noticed something that was a little bit odd about their horse. Now, everybody knows the Bronco on the back. Well, this one had an unusual growth from its head. I do have to say, this right here with the unicorn horn threw me off completely. I asked him, I'm like, where did you get that? I thought it was just a horn that was stuck on the end. No, it's part of this. So it came this way.
In fact, they made it that way.
So while we were sitting there talking to them, they offered to send us one, and I was like, absolutely, I'll take it. I'll do a video, because it was so funny, the fact that our car was dubbed the Unicorn, and now we are going to install
the Unicorn.
A unicorn on her car.
We're going to put the Unicorn on
the unicorn. So, but first we have to take the old horse off, which we've already done before. It actually is a white horse.
It's a knockoff Bronco. It's not an OEM Bronco because they don't come white. It's either chrome or black from OEM. So we found one similar to it, and that's the one I replaced it with originally until we found that.
So let's go ahead and take that one off, get it all cleaned up, and
put this new one back on.
Put the permanent one back on. Okay?
See you in a little bit.
Okay. Yep.
It's official. The unicorn is now a unicorn.
Okay. So that right there actually is pretty neat. So this is what caught my eye, is this right here was on the other one. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I thought it was just stuck on the end, but it's not. So this is your normal one. This is a black one that I have.
That's an OEM one that you have.
That right there, actually pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so it's official. We have the unicorn on. Now, some of the tools we used, you saw us use this. This right here is just a plastic scraper, I guess. It's a real soft plastic. It's not hard. We didn't like gouge into it. It's very...
Just
yeah.
keep this part right here, keep that flush. So it's even pressure, that way you don't dig in and scratch your paint, because if you scratch it, it's going to be expensive to repaint it, depending on the paint that you have.
Yeah. Also, fishing line works perfect for cutting that off. That way you don't have to pry anything. That's what we use for pretty much everything. Now, I do have to state one thing. Do not do this. If you have children, do not do this. We don't have kids, and this is actually just alcohol. I had
rubbing
a big container, rubbing alcohol. I had a big container of rubbing alcohol. I needed to empty it out. I put it in this bottle and a cranberry bottle.
The bottle was just too big to fit in a cabinet, so it just fit better.
Yeah. So don't do this if you have kids, or keep it way out of the reach.
Yeah. Another thing that we used, that you saw me use earlier, we used these two products here. This is a sprayway glass cleaner. It is ammonia free, so you can use this on your tint. If you have a glass cleaner that has ammonia in it, it will turn your tint purple, so be mindful of that. So I use this, and it doesn't strip off the clear coat, doesn't hurt to paint it or anything. Another thing that we use is the glue gun that you saw me use earlier when we first did this and the other one. This will also be safe on your paint and your clear coat. When you take off the residue, use the scraper like I showed you, and clean it again with rubbing alcohol. You'll get all that off, and it won't hurt anything as long as you do it right. It will strip off the wax, so you will have to re-wax that area, so just keep that in mind.
But I do want to say thank you to Vasher Design.
I love it.
They sent it to us. We were getting ready to buy it right then, and we told them why we call it the Bronco, and they said, the unicorn, and they said, oh, that's pretty cool. We'll go ahead and send you one. I'm like, no, and they offered, they insisted, they got my address and stuff like that, and a couple weeks later, they had a white unicorn. They asked us what color. I was like, white. So
now, for those of you that are new subscribers, we call this unicorn for two reasons. One reason that we stated, and then another reason was because Ford actually lost this vehicle, and it was down in Miami for like 45 days with no paperwork, as the paperwork got lost.
It was sitting in a shipping container.
Yeah, in a train yard.
Because the shipping company lost the paperwork. It was actually on its way back to Michigan because they had no shipping paperwork. I was able to contact the shipping company, and identify what was in the box because I had the box number and everything like that. Don't ask how I knew. I just had everything.
It took a lot of work to get all this
Yeah.
stuff done. We had to go through a lot of hoops and talk to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
this isn't like, you know.
Yeah,
one
I
and
didn't
done
have
thing.
that many. I didn't have connections that well. It took me
A lot of people to talk
a
to get to
couple
where he was.
weeks to get the information I needed. I finally was able to contact the company. They found out where it was. It was actually on the way back. It was supposed to be in Miami. They had sent it back. It was in Jacksonville at the time, and they resent it back down to Miami once they contacted Ford to get new shipping documents.
Yeah. It just wasn't the only Bronco affected.
There's
We
a
know
lot of
couple
others.
others that
Yeah.
were affected.
There's another person out there. If he's watching, leave
He's
a comment.
down in Miami.
He's down in Miami. It was in his vehicles in the same shipping.
Yeah, they were shipmates.
Shipmates.
But we dubbed this the Lost Unicorn because it was lost, and we named it the Unicorn, and we thought we were never going to see this car, like
Yeah,
ever.
it's a myth. We know it's around, but it's a myth.
It's like we got documentation and everything, we just couldn't find it, we couldn't get it.
Yeah. Anyways.
So we hope that you like the Unicorn. Check out Vasher Design. The link will be down below, and they have a lot of really neat products.
They have a lot of stuff like this. If you need anything made that's pretty much custom, like the emblems and stuff like that for the Broncos, they'll do custom lettering and stuff like that. From what I've seen, I mean, I haven't talked to them. I looked on their website like 5 minutes before this video. They have a lot of neat stuff. They also have a lot of suspension stuff that's coming out.
And skid plates.
Yeah, it's a good place. They are trying to get back or get into the suspension stuff. You got to check out the one vehicle they have. The articulation of the rear
It's amazing.
is just.
We'll link it somewhere in the video, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, check them out down below. I'm sure you'll find something that you'll like.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next video. Bye.